wake up in the morning, mathematics already took place. Even on the amount of rice we eat or the kilometers we walk through, it is all about mathematics. Welcome to the Mathematics in the Modern World. Mathematics makes our life orderly. It enables us to think critically and solve problems with the power of reasoning. Today, I will show you how relevant mathematics is in our life. Even before the pandemic, mathematics had been behind every essential tool in curing diseases, such as breaking up kidney stones with the use of a medical device called the throat-reaper. This picture shows how it works. It uses elliptical reflectors, which is a mathematic application of ellipse. Well, you might be wondering how. Ellipses, which have two foci, have a similar reflecting property that is exploited in a medical procedure called lithotripsy. Patients with kidney stones and gallstones are positioned in a tank shaped like half an ellipse so that the stones are at one focus. The reflective property of an ellipse is the principle behind whispering galleries. These are rooms with elliptically shaped ceilings such that a person standing at one focus can hear even the slightest whisper, causes to break up the kidney stones by generating sound waves. During this time of pandemic, mathematics had become more useful and had played a big role in our lives. Also, behind those doses of the vaccine that we have taken, it involves appropriate measurements. Imagine, how would our life be without mathematics? In our battle with the pandemic, it is necessary to be predictable of the number of cases each day, and the target vaccination coverage. We predict and determine COVID cases through the use of sequence, forecasting, and mathematical models. Shown in the right is the sample mathematical model that determines post-vaccination dynamic. Shown in the left is the SVIR model that shows the equation. If the vaccine is induced, the immunity is lifelong. In simpler explanation, we need mathematics and apply these formulas to overcome adversity and to create technologies that will save lives.
Hi, my name is Ronnie Moldogo, and I will discuss about how math applied in basketball. Basketball math covers a wide range of math concepts. While playing or watching a basketball game, kids can practice geometry, percentage, and even simple mathematical operations. Basketball players, whether they realize it or not, they use a lot of geometric principles when they are on the court. The basketball court's dimensions are the most basics of these concepts. In any basketball court, the hoop diameter, the ball diameter, the core width, and the length of the three-point line to the hoop are all standard measurements that must be followed. The angle at which the basketball is fired, the force provided, and the height of the player's arms determine the direction it will take once it has been shot. To get the basketball into the basket from behind free throw line, a narrower angle is required. A larger angle is required while performing a field throw. However, a higher shot is required when a defender tries to stop the shot. The elbow should be as close to the face as possible in this scenario. You send the greatest way to shoot the ball in the understand the arcs. Throwing the ball directly at the basket isn't going to help it get through the hoop. According to basketball players, shooting the ball in an arc, on the other hand, will improve the chances of it landing into the basket. It's critical to get the arc so the ball doesn't end up in wrong area. Thorough defense requires a good understanding of geometry as well. This will aid in predicting the player's movements as well as determining how to face them. If you face the player straight, you'll have more room to move about on both sides. The freedom of the player will be limited if he is facing him at an angle. Isn't it also possible to utilize math to figure out where to stand while on the defensive? You can move faster if you bend your knees more. In basketball, math plays an important role in the actual game of basketball because it uses geometry. That's all.
The Bachelor of Science in Accountancy or BSA is a four-year degree that provides general accounting education to students interested in pursuing a professional career as accountants, particularly as civil servant public accountants. The BS Accountancy program's curriculum emphasizes a long and true professional accounting study that allows students to achieve the professional knowledge required for professional competency. Accounting, finance, and related knowledge, organization and business understanding, and information technology knowledge and competencies are all part of a professional accounting education. Professional knowledge supplements non-professional knowledge as well as the intellectual, personal, interpersonal, communication, organizational, and management skills acquired in general education. As a BSA student, it is as simple as 1 to 3 to learn BS Accountancy. Discipline, patience, ambition, and perseverance are required. I learned all I needed to know to be a successful accountant while studying accounting, from the most basic principle to the most sophisticated. I choose BSA as a course because it is something I am comfortable with and would like to accomplish that is related to my personality. My dream job would be to work in an environment where I could share ideas and abilities while not having to do too much physical activity. If you want to pass your subjects and one day become a competent accountant, you must be willing to stay up late reading long chapters of discussion and then answering questions relating to that issue. You must also become more passionate about learning and devote less time to personal interests as the subject are quite time-consuming. Accountants play a critical part in every firm, making this a wonderful career choice for anyone looking to work in a leadership role. Because educated accountants earn high salaries, this is a good field for anyone trying to optimize their earnings. There are numerous career chances for persons with a degree in BS Accountancy and similar subject in classified advertisements, online job portals, and other job vacancy sources. Accountants are required by the government, public organization, and even private businesses. An accountant's career prospects are numerous, and he or she might pursue additional specialties and certifications to boost their market value in the field of finance. Accounting is a profession with a significant impact on all societies. Professional accountants require a broad global vision to grasp the context in which businesses and other organizations function as the globe progresses toward global market economies. Investments and operations cross borders to an ever greater extent. A typical accounting education program must be supplemented by other methods. Learning is defined and measured strictly in terms of knowledge of principle, standards, concept, facts, and procedure at a given point in time in this approach. With learning defined and measured strictly in terms of knowledge of principles, standards, concept, facts, and procedures at a given point in time. A greater focus should be placed on a set of professional knowledge, abilities, and values, ethics, and attitudes that are broad enough to allow for ongoing development. Professional accountants should have a persistent motivation to learn new things and apply what they have learned.
Mathematics makes our life orderly and prevent chaos. Certain qualities that are nurtured by mathematics are power of reasoning, creativity, abstract or spatial thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, ability, and even effective communication skills. The most obvious place where you would see the application of basic mathematical concept is your neighborhood grocery stores and supermarket. The seems like flat 50% off, buy one get one free, etc. are seen on most of the stores. Customers visit the stores, see such seams, estimate the quantity to be bought, the weight, the price per unit, discount calculation, and finally the total price of the product and buy it. You also have to multiply the weight of the item by the price per ounce to truly find out how much you will be spending, which involves math. Also, when you are cooking or baking, you have to figure out how much of something you need, like either a 1/2 cup or 3/4 of a cup. The calculations are done based on basic mathematical concept. Thus, Here also, maths forms an important part of our daily routine.
Mathematics is used in our daily life. It can be applied on everything. One of its example is transportation. It can be bus, jeepney, motorcycle, tricycle, taxi, even ships or airplanes. Anything that offers transportations and we pay for them. For drivers, math is used to determine how far a passenger will go and ask them for the price of their ride. It is based on how far they go because it consumes gas. Math is also used to compute the earnings of the driver for the day. For passengers, they use it to compute their payment and change from the driver. They also use math to make sure that the driver is asking for the right amount of money. The other uses of mathematics in transportations are payment for the gas, payment for the maintenance of the car if it is broken, payment for the licenses and other permits. It can also be used for payment when we violate the rules of traffic. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Katrina Garcia from Accounting 211. Today, I'm going to discuss what is math in a business. Our objective for today is to understand what is mathematics in a business, to learn what are the mathematics needed in a business, to learn how to calculate price costing and price determination or selling price. Mathematics is extremely important in business. Why? In business, math is the only thing that matters. We examine the data at the end of each year: revenues, margins, expenses, earnings, and dividends. We need mathematics along the road to arrive at good figures at the conclusion of the year. Business ownership requires more than skill in creating a product or talent at providing a service. Overseeing your company's finances is critical to its existence and success. Understanding fundamental business mathematics is required for successful operations and accurate record keeping. Knowing how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, round, and apply percentages and fractions is the very minimum for pricing your goods and staying within the budget. Product costing and product costing. Before officially beginning production and establishing a firm, it is critical to evaluate the costs associated with manufacturing, such as the cost of raw materials, machinery, rent, administrative fees, and so on. In addition to these fundamental fees, there are various costs related with marketing, storage, interest, loan payment, and so on. Once all of the marketing expenditures have been deducted, it should be simple to calculate the profit required to continue and remain competitive in the market. Accurately identifying the cost of each item will strengthen the business's foundation. When you've properly calculated the cost, the following steps is to price the items correctly so that they create the necessary amount of cash flows for the business's future needs. By charging the proper selling price, the product will remain profitable. There are four steps you need to do for you to calculate your cost per unit. The first one is determine your fixed cost. Fixed costs are costs that do not change over time. Fixed costs are independent of unit output, which means that they will remain constant regardless of how many units you create or how much demand you have. Fixed costs include office space rent, company insurance, yearly salary, and benefits for staff, equipment rental, and property taxes. This is not An all-inclusive list of potential fixed expenses. Remember that each organization is unique and what contributes to the fixed cost may vary as well. Number two is determine your variable cost. Variable costs are that fluctuate on a regular basis. This fluctuation might occur from day to day, month to month, quarterly, annually, or even between production dates. Variable costs, as opposed to fixed costs, are determined by the numbers of units produced and might vary from calculation to computation. The variable costs are the total of direct labor expenses and direct material costs. Direct labor costs are how much you pay hourly or freelance people to help create the product, and direct material costs are how much you spend on the resources you require for your product. Number three, determine how many units you're making. The number of units produced is the last quantity required for your cost per unit computation. For instance, if you make 100 candles every month, your unit number is 100. This may be the number of units produced each month or quarter, or you could compute the cost per unit depending on the number of units produced during a certain production period. Remember that all units of measurement should stay consistent. Thus, if you utilize unit numbers on a monthly basis, your fixed and variable expenses should also be on a monthly basis. And lastly, number four, fill in the formula with your fixed cost, variable cost, and the number of units. Here's the formula to determine your cost per unit. Total fixed cost plus total variable cost is divided by your units produced. Here is a sample problem. The Touring the Road is a company that produces and sells bicycles to customers. For a group of 100 bicycles for the month, they may hire a designer for $300 to create the colors of each bike and determine how it will look, and a manufacturer for $1,000 to create the bikes and associated apparel. In this simplified example, the variable cost is 300 plus $1,000 for a total of $1,300. They may then have fixed costs, including monthly rent of $500 for their office space and monthly business insurance of $120 for a total fixed cost of $620. With these figures, the total expense amount is $1,920. Solution. It is stated in the problem that there is a $620 fixed cost and a $1,300 variable cost. We must add this to come up with a $1,920 total cost for the month. Then, we will divide this to 100 because it is the number of units produced monthly. Our cost per unit should be $19.20. Using this calculation, you must sell each bike for more than $19.20 to make profit. Product determination. To guarantee that you can run your business and generate enough cash flow to invest in it, you must charge enough for your product to be profitable. The markup is the difference between the cost of your item and the selling price, which gives you your gross profit. We use markup to determine the price of the product we are selling. It is the amount by which the cost of a product is increased in order to derive the selling price. The markup formula is cost per unit multiplied by your preferred markup percentage. The mostly common used markup percentage is 50% because this can guarantee us that we will make profit with selling our product. The price determination formula or selling price is that markup is added to our cost per unit. From the same problem earlier, I multiplied the cost per unit to 50%, which is equivalent to zero point 0.5 in decimal form. The answer I derived from that is 9.6, which means that I need to add $9.06 to the cost per unit to make profit. The selling price should be $28.08. In every business, there will always be math. We only need basic mathematics to compute for the product cost and selling price. I am ending this discussion with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. That is all, everyone. Thank you for listening.